Welcome back, and you are coming live from Johannesburg from the Slow Media Studios with myself, Nafisa Dangle. A very interesting morning indeed, a chilly one, but we're going to warm you up with some really interesting topics that are going to entice you into better spaces and places, as I say all the time. And this morning, we start off with a really phenomenal young lady, Mbali. Mbali, let me just tell you about her. She's from Protea North in Soweto. She was a recipient of blood donations from the age of 10. Mbali was diagnosed with severe aplastic anemia. And according to the Mayo Clinic, aplastic anemia is a condition that occurs when your body stops producing enough of those new blood cells, which we need to keep our organs going and to keep us really healthy. So she's going to unpack her story to us, which I think is an absolutely phenomenal, inspirational one. And then we're going to talk about what she did with it. Learning from this experience of hers, she didn't just take the experience and turn her life around, but she's now started turning other people's lives around. So we're going to talk to her. A very good morning, and thank you so much for joining me on the show this morning in Bali. It's been an absolute pleasure to be able to have you on the show.
Good morning, Nafisa. Thank you so much for having me this morning. How are you?
Apart from it being a very chilly morning, I think we're all fine. How's it going on your side?
Yes, very cold, very cold. I did the washing last night. I was going to check it out this morning and phew, I don't want to continue. Too cold.
Not much fun, but we're going to warm, I think, everybody's
Yes,
hearts this morning with some phenomenal information. Talk to us. I
yes.
mean, we know that you were diagnosed with severe aplastic anemia, and I'm sure it was a very
hmm
difficult one because I mean, you started receiving blood from the age of 10 years old, which should have been very traumatic. So unpack your story
Yes.
for us.
Okay. When I was 10, I grew up a very active child, so to say, and at the age of 10, I just started becoming a lazy child, so to say. Many people would say I was lazy because then I went from being a hyperactive child to being a child that just doesn't want to participate in anything, constantly
Mm,
tired, complaining about taking just a 4 meter walk, talking about I can't breathe properly or I'm a bit too tired, my legs can't carry me. And then I was diagnosed on the 22nd of March with um, really the doctor just said that the blood counts are extremely low and really close to basically being a water tank, because there was that little my blood counts at 0 point something. And then at the oncology ward at Kusani Parapanas, then they officially diagnosed me with plastic anemia after running a bone marrow test and transfusing me with the blood um, transfusion immediately.
that must have been really traumatic. I mean, at the age of 10, you're so young and you don't actually understand what is happening to you. What sort
Yes.
of emotions did you experience? Because I mean, being 10, as I said, it's something you can't understand what is going on with your body and with yourself, and what is, what you can do to actually transform that.
Yes. I mean, at that point in time, I really didn't get what's going on before being admitted. And once I was admitted, it just kicked in that, wow, I'm waking up in a whole hospital bed. And then obviously the news that I wouldn't be going home anytime soon really were not the nicest. I just couldn't understand the pain that I was experiencing from the bone marrow. And then it was looking at the blood going to my body and just thinking, this isn't normal. Like, why do I have blood going into my body?
Mm-hmm.
Took quite a long time to adjust to the physical changes in terms of how the blood affected my physical appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Discoloration, it changed the color of my skin several times. Sometimes I'm a bit darker, sometimes I'm a bit lighter, but other than that, nothing too severe, just the physical changes. And then having to make people understand why I'm not um, playing with other kids anymore, why I'm not
Mm-hmm.
attending school like normal anymore, why I'm bleeding, because for the most part, after that, I spent a lot of time bleeding. I would go to school, get a transfusion on Thursday, go to school on Friday, bleed a lot, then be
Mm.
back later that afternoon in the hospital to replace that blood that has already been bled out, and it just at some point it just felt like it was it was a cycle that was just not ending. And I would actually think to myself, what use is it for me to be receiving blood when I'm only going to be bleeding it out? And as a result, I
Yes.
think that's one of the reasons why my my blood transfusion number was so high. I received up to 8 blood transfusions in a week, you know,
Whoa.
and that's the whole recycling process of I receive, I bleed. Those bleeds, that's one of
Mm.
the things that led to me being diagnosed because I was bleeding every Saturday around 2 o'clock with no understanding. And my mom would say if she could measure the amount of blood that I had bled, perhaps half
Mm.
a cup, three
Mm.
quarters of a cup is what I bled out in just that Saturday, unending.
Sure.
So it was quite scary. It was very scary.
Mm. And I mean,
Yeah.
we look at a half a cup. That's a lot of blood from a person from a young child at that age to be able to bleed that much. How did you deal with it, and what was your turning point in your life, or what made you actually learn to cope with it? And then I want to ask a question: is aplastic anemia something that you've learned to deal with and overcome to some extent? I want our viewers to understand the condition and what
Yes.
is attached with it and how you as a person, as an individual,
Hmm.
overcame this.
I mean, how I dealt with it really was my mom spent quite a lot of time researching how to stop the nosebleed because that was frustrating. And then we'd come
Mm,
across the natural cures like use lemon, throw it down the nose, um, use salt, salt water, that would
mm,
stop the bleeding. So I guess that was a cause of saying that it would create clotting, only to find that it does not do the clotting with me because with
mm,
aplastic anemia, it basically my condition was the fact that my bone marrow stopped reproducing its own blood cells entirely. It was not reproducing the red cells. It wasn't reproducing the platelets. It was reproducing nothing. Everything was affected, even my immune system. I had to normalize living in isolation when my
mm,
immune system got low. Now that it's winter time, I was used to being isolated from everyone. And as I grew up, the doctors gave me a choice to say, do you want to be isolated in the hospital, in a ward, or do you want to be isolated at home, privately, so that your immune system does not collapse further, you know?
mm,
And that was hard. It was hard. But what made me decide to live further and go with this is the fact that I'm a dreamer. I believed in my dreams that I have. And
mm,
um, I just had to be very conscious of everything that I do, um, change my lifestyle, you know, take
mm.
eat certain food, drink a lot of water because now my body lacks quite the oxygen due to the reproduction to the low cells, you know.
Right.
Yes, yes, and I took a lot of immune boosting supplements because that we believed would help everything else, you know.
Right.
Yeah, it was hectic. It was
Okay,
hectic.
so stick with us. We're gonna go for a quick break, and then we're gonna talk about the NPO that you actually, put together with regard to this.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Humanity sets the agenda.
It is not their meat nor their blood that reaches Allah. It is your piety that reaches Him. Perform your Qurbani locally for 1,980 Rand per share. Visit us at stanzaf.org.za or call us on 011 834 6046. Stanzaf, changing lives through development and relief.
There's no smell that takes me back to the comfort of my childhood than the smell of black seed oil being applied by my nani. Now I'm using tib black seed in my own home to soothe sniffles and coughs, to help with digestion and immunity, and of course, as part of my beauty routine. After all these years, I've come to appreciate the wisdom in finding comfort and shifa in trusted treatments like Tib Black Seed. You can find Tib Black Seed at all leading pharmacies or find out more at blackseed.co.za.
Approximately 785 million people in this world do not have access to safe, clean water. In developing countries, around 80% of all illnesses are due to contaminated water and poor sanitation. Don't let dirty water end a life. Build a water well. In Bangladesh, Malawi, Nepal, Zimbabwe, or here at home in South Africa, donate to Penny Appeal's Thirst Relief Project to bring safe, clean water to communities around the world. www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Sustain, sacrifice, share.
Africa.
This Eid al-Adha, donate your Udhiyah Qurbani to Africa Muslims Agency. We ensure that your Qurbani not only feeds the poor, but creates sustainable incomes for local farmers, brings the practice of sacrifice to the villages, and shares the spirit of Eid. Sponsor in South Africa for 2,650 Rand. Africa, 1,650 Rand. Palestine, 7,250 Rands per share. Or in Lebanon, Afghanistan, and other countries across the globe. Visit africamuslimsagency.co.za for pricing and to donate. Call Africa Muslims Agency now on 011 834 8685. Africa Muslims Agency, commemorating 35 years of empowering, educating, inspiring.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media. Humanity sets the agenda.
Welcome back, and we're in conversation with Sister Mbali about her situation with severe aplastic anemia, and how she's dealt with it. But also, it's all about turning things around and taking the opportunities to be able to create the positive out of the negative. And this is exactly what she's done. She is the founder of the Blossom Foundation, an NPO focused on growing the community of active blood donors in South Africa. And she says, they're working predominantly in the Black communities who do not donate blood because of the stereotypes they have, reaching out there to educate them and to create the awareness on the importance of blood donation, which I think is so imperative. So, Mbali, welcome back. It's amazing thing to see that you've taken your situation and whatever you were facing in your experiences in your life from the age of 10 up to this point, and now realize that you could use your situation to change other people's lives and other people that are facing similar situations to yours. So talk to us about your NPO. I like the idea about you going out there and educating people, because that's what it's about. In a lot of instances, we find, I think people need the education because, as you said in your words that I just read out, there is a misconception about blood donation.
Yes, there is indeed. So, Blossom Foundation is there to educate, inform, and create awareness about the importance of blood donation, whilst growing the community of active voluntary blood donors across South Africa, especially in the youth market and in Black communities. This being because my journey was in a public hospital. I was receiving my treatment, or rather my blood transfusions, at the Chris Hani Baragwanath Ward 44 Oncology Ward. As a result, I saw just so many, and it wasn't just Black kids. We did have a few Indian Muslim kids. We did have white children as well. But they most of the time came from different communities. But anyhow, I just saw how each one of us really the most common thing that we shared was the need for blood. Most of the time, if you had leukemia, blood. If you had anemia, blood. And just seeing the wait for the blood amongst us all, and each one of us hoping that our parents would get called to fetch blood is the reason why Blossom Foundation exists. It was really an unpleasant experience for me personally to have to wait anything from 4 hours up to 4 days just for a mere blood transfusion to be available for me, and also mainly given to my blood type. I'm an A negative, and I can only receive from the O negative and the A negative blood type. And these two blood types, if A negative was unavailable, but O negative being a universal donor was available, the challenge with that would be that in a few minutes, I would get called to say, look, you can come and pick up your blood product. And then a couple of minutes later, there is a call back to say, no, sorry, but we've moved it on to somebody that needs it more urgently than you, like a mother who is in labor, or somebody that's just come in with the paramedics team from a severe car accident, and obviously with the fact that it's a universal donor, that would lead up to me waiting even longer, So we reaching out to the Black community specifically because we found that less than 1% of those people are actually donating blood, and it's more of lack of information due to the misconceptions, as you said, about cultural practices, perhaps, and then just not understanding how, as people, we can take other people's blood, that was always a question in the ward. Even parents would refuse their kids receiving blood transfusions because they would say things like, this blood is not of my family. I don't understand why my child needs to get blood of another person, And so we're here to fix that, and make them understand that more than anything, I think the important thing is to understand that there is no manufacturing machine for blood. There is no way that blood can be created. The only way we can receive blood when we need it is to have another human donate their blood so that we can receive blood, And that's the biggest point that I always say, that if you don't donate blood, then do understand that there is no machine and we actually all need each other to survive, So
I'm glad that you bring that particular aspect up, because I mean, the thing is, this is what people need to understand, is the severity of the situation and the importance of having to give that blood and going, if you can donate and you're allowed to be a donor, is to go out there and give and save those lives. Because in many instances, we find people are in situations where, depending on that blood, they're in a life and death situation, and that's what really is their turnaround. And I think that's something we need to make our viewers understand, that the more blood that we donate out there, the more lives we are
the
going
more
to save
lives
every
are
single
saved.
day.
Exactly, indeed. And I mean, with the Sanders, we do know that they say that your blood can save up to 3 lives. When they talk about saving up to 3 lives, they talk about the fact that the blood, the same way the blood is broken down when you run tests into different components of the cells that they are, is the same way that the Sanders machinery can do with an ordinary blood donation that has been received. So I used to receive 2 of those products. So if you think about it, I received like 8 normal red blood cells, and then I would receive one for every 2. I received 1 platelet cell and 1 plate. Yes. So that was not
And we
even
know how
60.
important those platelets are, because I mean,
They
for
are,
especially for
because
people
they
with
assist with the
cancer,
clotting.
the leukemias,
Yes,
those kind of things, and with
yes,
yours, of course, the aplastic severity of anemia. That
yes.
is the important thing, because, as you said, it creates new blood cells. And
It
without
does.
those platelets, literally your organs are not going to work efficiently. So this is what
Yep.
we're trying to make people understand. But I really want people to tap into you. So please give us your details about Blossom Foundation, because what we want appealing to all
Definitely.
our viewers out there today is, a little goes a long way.
Long
And
way.
just go and
Yes,
donate that blood, because what you're doing is saving so many lives, and you're not realizing the differences that you are making in people's lives and in families' lives by just saving
yes,
that particular person.
yes. My details are Blossom Foundation, BLOSEM Foundation. So you don't pronounce it Blossom, you pronounce it Blossom. And
Okay.
we are on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. Also, we have our website, Blossom Foundation. And the ways you can tap into helping us, really, guys, is to please make sure to share all our social media posts as best as possible, because that's how we can reach more people, to create, to build more partnerships with and networks with people such as corporates and schools alike, where we can initiate meetings to say we'd like to come and hold group education seminars or events, to spread the awareness about the importance of blood donation. And also, if you would like to assist further, we are calling on all corporates or anyone that can recommend a corporate to us to say, look, we would like to sponsor you with funds, because as much as we would like to do the giving, the raising awareness about blood donation and recruiting more people to donate blood, we need the funds to go out to these communities. We are
Most
a
definitely.
non-profit organization, and we work through our own pockets. And in the past year, we were only fortunate to receive approval of sponsorship from the National Lotteries Commission of South Africa, after
Mm.
many other applications. So we would appreciate support from corporates as well, or any organization that would like to assist us with cash donations, vehicle sponsorships, anything really that can assist with us going out there. Even media, because that also plays a big role. That does
Most
play a big
definitely.
role.
And that's the
Yes.
reason why you're on the show today, because we believe in what you do. We really
Yes.
definitely believe
Yes.
in the phenomenal work that you're doing out there, and trying
Thank
to, of
you.
course, save those lives, change those lives, turn those challenges that we're facing in South Africa. And as we know, COVID hasn't made it any easier. So,
Not at all.
a real shout out to you, my dear. You are definitely doing something absolutely phenomenal. To our viewers,
Thank you.
definitely get involved with the Blossom, as they say, foundation, and go
Yes.
and make those changes. Donate. Let's get over that stereotype and educate ourselves. I'm glad to hear that you're going to be reaching out to the schools, because it always starts there, where we inculcate it in
Yes.
ourselves, and then it becomes a natural habit where you're so inculcated in doing this that it will be a natural thing with you all the time, where you say, I am now a permanent blood donor. So
I
thank you
mean,
so
you
much
should
for
see.
joining us on the
Mhm.
show.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And
I mean, I just
we wish
wanted to
you,
say,
sure, sure.
I just wanted to say, you should see how we've also done primary schools reach out and educated primary school kids to tell their parents. You should see how fulfilling it is for them to see their parents do the blood donation with the Sanders, and then come out and say, I want to become a blood donor when I turn 16 as well. And that's
Wow.
where the charity begins.
Yes,
When you can get
definitely. And I
those
think that's where
excited,
the
then
contentment and the fulfillment comes in, knowing that
yes,
it's been inculcated already, where they're looking at that vision, where they can at that point start giving back, they will. So
yes, yes.
I want to really thank you. And as I said, commend you on the
Thank
work that you're
you.
doing, because you've definitely bridged the gap. And that's something very important, as pertinent and as important as this particular one. So to all of you out
Yeah.
there, let's go ahead, let's support Mbali, and let's go and change those lives. Thank you, Mbali. We're wishing you all the
Thank you
success,
so
and you
much,
definitely have
Nafisa.
Salam Media's support with regard to this.
Oh, we appreciate that. Thank you for this interview. It means a lot. Thank
It
you
was just
very,
such
very
a
much.
pleasure having to chat to such a phenomenal young human being like yourself, going out there and making those differences. Thank you so much, and
Thank
have a blessed
you.
one.
You too, Nafisa. Thank you.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.
Sister Mbali, definitely making a difference with the Blossom Foundation. It's all about giving back. And why not go out there? Start today. Go out there and donate your blood, and let's go and change those lives and save those lives. We're going to go for a quick break. Stay with us. We have something really interesting after the break.